What is up, guys? This is Jared Spalding here, and for this video I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different than usual. Of course, it still has to do with silver. I almost never veer from that topic. But instead of talking about how great silver stacking is, or something like that, or why you should be doing so, I'm going to be talking about the risks of investing in silver. And of course, I don't just talk about how something's risky without giving the opportunity to avoid those risks. So, this blue coin's a little bright there. There we go. But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna just be like, oh yeah, silver stacking, it's really good, but it's kind of risky, and then just stop. Obviously, I'm gonna tell you guys, some ways to avoid these risks. But let's just get into them, man. So, one of the biggest risks of silver investing when it comes to a beginner is getting fake silver. Man, I can't even tell you guys how much fake silver there is out there. There's so much of it that, I think for every 1 ounce of silver, there's 10 ounces of fake silver in terms of bullion, or something ridiculous like that. Like, in the end, it ends up being almost the same amount of value as fake silver as there is of real silver in the world. That's how much there really is, just in the U.S. floating around on open markets, people are buying every day. I'm talking about not even produced, but bought. Actually getting bought by people who think it's real silver. 10x, 10 times the amount of silver that's sold, is going to be fake. Or, I didn't say that right, but anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is it's really easy to get ripped off by, a silver bar where it's either plated with silver and filled with zinc, or, maybe it even has a thick silver covering just so it can pass magnet test. Still has, a zinc core or a tin core, and then therefore, it is worth basically nothing. And this, of course, still applies to gold even more than silver, because of the fact that, a gram of gold, something that small, can fetch $50, and an ounce of it can fetch, $12.50. That's pretty tempting. And that's, if you're selling it for spot, it's going to go for a little bit above spot, obviously. So, it's really tempting with that. But even with silver, there's enough to be made. Now, the only thing I don't think it would happen with is copper necessarily, just because of the fact that copper, is oftentimes used as the fake metal because of its similarities to silver. And also, copper is not usually worth faking. You're not going to make a huge profit. But with silver, there's definitely still a risk of getting ripped off from, fake silver bars. And this brings me to another risk. Now, oh yeah, I forgot to say how to avoid it. Honestly, the biggest and best way to avoid one of these mistakes when you're investing is to simply buy from reliable sources. You might be thinking, oh well, it's online, so it must be real. No, that's not the way it works in our world. Okay, maybe in an ideal world, but not in this one, where people are constantly trying to make a quick buck, ripping off others. Really what's going to happen is, if your chances are, think of it this way, if you're not buying silver from either A, it's a reliable source, or B, it's a reliable type of silver, just think you think it's fake, basically. That's honestly the mindset you have to have in this world to get anywhere, is to think honestly that, it's either, reliable. Like, all this here, obviously I didn't buy from APMEX or like Provident, because, for coins that look like this, you normally have to pay over melt. I mean, I think I got these in like a assorted lot and stuff like that. Just over time, and all these nickels I got here, 220 of them, I paid under melt for every single one of them. You don't get to do that when you're paying from reliable sources. But these coins, you can tell are real. I mean, the fact that it's not like a numismatically valuable coin where someone's gonna make any money faking it. A coin that's worth maybe 85 cents melt right now, and 75 cents melt when I was buying it, it would cost you more to fake these silver nickels than to actually, actually be just buying and selling silver nickels. You'd make more doing that than faking them. And it would cost you so much to make these ones. It would cost you more than 85 cents. It would cost several dollars just to fake them, because of the fact that you need all the equipment that the mint has, which would either A, you have to invest millions of dollars to do this on a large scale, or B, you'd have to spend, several dollars per coin. So that's why, usually constitutional junk is the only time when you can buy silver from someone who's non-reliable. And chances are you can get a better deal. But if you're buying bullion bars or numismatically valuable coins or anything like that, you know, where it can easily be faked, then definitely make sure you're buying from a reliable source. You know, it doesn't have to be one of the top companies. It can be somewhat smaller, but as long as you either A, have had a positive experience with them before with smaller purchases, which is a great way to test out a company, by the way, you know, buy something small, or B, you know, that they're reliable through others. You know, you can't just be expecting that no one's ever going to try to rip you off, because that's not the way it works, unfortunately. Now, a second risk when it comes to silver investing is getting, again, ripped off, and this time overpaying for silver. I see it with all of this you're looking at right here. I see it way too often. I'm talking about people will sell a standard ounce of silver for $20. Okay, no. Okay, yeah. Junk silver, need I remind you, that, and I'm talking about, not even now, I don't know how much it is now, but I'm talking about when silver was $14 an ounce, $13.80 an ounce. People were selling the standard ounce, not even a troy ounce. I'm talking about $13.80 a troy ounce. So like maybe $12 per standard ounce. People were selling a standard ounce for $20 of junk. It's barely worth over a melt if you're lucky on a good day. So yeah, definitely something you want to avoid right there. Usually either auction style or best offer is the way to go, because if you're doing auction style, you can, you know, sometimes get a good deal because people won't bid up high enough on things like, especially like nickels that are in really bad condition. That's how I got 120 silver nickels for under a melt. Was through that way. And it's either that or it's going to be, you know, you are, like, let's say they're selling per roll and they have like 4 rolls left, and let's say they couldn't move them. You offer them, you know, for 4 rolls, you offer them right around melt. They're not, chances are they won't do it, but you can't, you know, think to yourself, yeah, they definitely won't do it, because they might. And unless they have it set up to automatically decline any offers under a certain amount, they have to at least look at it to decline it, and, you know, they'll be thinking about it, and they'll maybe even make you a counter offer that you can agree with, or whatever it is, you know, especially if they don't know too much about silver, which I know a lot of people lie. They say they don't when they really do. But if you really do find someone who's kind of clueless about it and still selling it anyway, then you can get a good deal by doing best offers. So that's a good way to avoid that. And another time when you can get ripped off is on bullion. People will oftentimes overpay. I've seen, I think it was Still Keeping One talked about, it was showing people who were selling silver bars for like $50 an ounce, which, like 1 ounce silver bars for like $50, and they were selling like thousands of them. So I don't know what was up with that, honestly. I don't think that anyone watching my channel is, you know, if you're looking into a video like this, I don't think you'd be foolish enough to make that kind of mistake, but, you know, the scams are everywhere. I mean, the money traps for silver are just as relevant as they would be in any other business. You know, something that looks lucrative at the time, I think I just pronounced that wrong, but something, you know, it will look really amazing at the time, and then all of a sudden, you know, you realize you got ripped off and paid almost twice melt value, which is really something you want to avoid. Now, another big mistake with silver investing, and this is a little bit of a, like, it doesn't have to do necessarily with getting ripped off, but another big mistake is you basically ripping yourself off when you don't diversify. This is one I see all the time. Look at this, okay? To give you an example, you're looking at my constitutional silver stack right now, okay? 220 nickels, 50-something dimes, or maybe even the 60s. You know, this is all my junk constitutional, I should say, because I got other constitutional that's numismatically valuable. But look, see, I've invested here in constitutionally valuable junk silver worth around melt. But you can also see I've also invested in bullion here, right here, you know. And you can see I've also invested in some numismatically valuable silver. Now this obviously isn't all of it here, but it would take a while to set it all back up like normally. But, you know, just some silver dollars and an old Spanish coin, just to give you a good example. Of course, also I diversified in foreign silver, because oftentimes you can find a good deal. And, you know, foreign silver you can get really great deals on. Like, someone was trying to sell this for $60 originally, they had it for sale. And then whoever I was buying from got a hold of this piece and sold it to me through an auction, which I paid $8 for. So I don't know how much they paid for it. I hope not $60. But my point being, foreign silver is, you know, usually a little bit of an outer piece, just because people don't know exactly what they're worth in the U.S. Unfortunately for them, and they'll, you know, let them go way too cheap. Now, another mistake people will make when silver investing here is buying silver jewelry from. Now, not buying silver jewelry, because all of this I paid way under melt for. But, well, actually, I didn't pay for these two. These were given to me, and then these I paid like 50 cents or something like that for, something ridiculously cheap like that. But another big mistake people will make is they'll think silver investing is buying, you know, expensive silver chains from like something like, you know, a jewelry store. It's like, no, that's really not a good way to invest, because you're ripping yourself off again when, you know, you're buying it for silver melt value content, when really it's only worth, you know, it's only worth the silver melt to you, yet you're going to be paying, you know, 30x, well, not 30x melt, but for a ring like this, you'd have to pay a couple times melt, I would imagine, just because there's stones in here, and you're not even putting those into consideration with this. You're not putting the little gold band into consideration. And I'm not sure, I think this is probably just gold plated. It'd be really cool if it was like 14 karat gold, because it'd be worth like $30, but I'm not really sure about that. If you guys know any good ways to test something that small, you know, let me know. But anyway, you know, buying silver jewelry from a coin shop, oh my god, a coin shop, yeah, no, a jewelry store or something is a huge mistake, because, you know, you're not going to be paying anywhere near melt for it. So, yeah, I know you guys might be kind of thinking, well, that was more of a mistake, you know, you're telling me more about a mistake than a risk, really, but when I'm saying risk, I mean just something, you know, basically that's a trap for you that you're going to be falling into here. So I do apologize if that was misconstrued here, but another big risk when investing in silver, and I'll just do 5 risks for you, but the last one here is not storing your silver properly, and this puts you at risk, of course, of it being stolen. And when I say, you know, not storing it properly, I don't mean necessarily, you know, like you have to go and bury it like 10 feet underground in like a secret, like, you know, concrete fortified vault or something. But you basically don't want to be showing it off to a bunch of people. Now, I know you guys are thinking, well, you show it on your YouTube channel all the time. Well, chances are none of you guys out there know my address necessarily, unless somehow you found out, which would be kind of weird. But, I mean, I guess you could find out maybe through an IP address if you really went deep into it. But, you know, it's not like I have a bunch of silver that, you know, anyone would be willing to go through all that work for anyway. But also, I do, you know, kind of store it inconspicuously. I've never showed where I store it on one of my videos either, so you guys don't really know where I actually store the silver. I just kind of show it. And not only that, but I don't really tell people in real life, you know, that I have a bunch of silver where I store, you know, I don't come in, if you have people come over and show them it all and be like, hey, you know, look at all this, you know, and then basically advertise myself as a potential, you know, robbery target. Yeah, I kind of keep it on the down low when it comes to that, just because of the fact that I don't want it to be stolen, you know. And the other risk that goes in here is trusting people too much, you know, thinking that that there's a certain person who would never hurt you, because for enough money they would, I can pretty much guarantee you. And I know that's kind of a sad outlook on life, but money always talks, and yeah, I mean, that's just something you gotta remember. But anyway, hope you guys did enjoy the video. A little bit of a longer one, almost 14 minutes, but that's it for this one. Peace, love, and much respect.